you ask fans, who you ask, whether you ask fans or you ask critics, the original release of Final Fantasy XIV was in fact so bad that the makers, Square Enix, issued an official public apology about how bad the game was. But they didn't stop there. They went ahead and they recreated the game. And they sunset the original servers for Final Fantasy XIV with a big story event that wrapped everything up. And then they released Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. And that's where the journey begins. Ever since then, they have released 3 very successful expansions for the game. And the game boasts about 200 to 300 hours of pure story content. That's main story questing, and that's what we're going to be here for today. We are going to be starting at level 1, and we are going to be doing the main story quest and requisite job quests to get all the way up to max level and see what seems to be an amazing story in Final Fantasy XIV with great world building, a good history that makes sense and is linear and that you can actually follow along through the course of playing in the game. And I'm really excited to get into it. I've spent about 100 hours throughout the years with Final Fantasy XIV, so I'm not brand new to it. But as far as seeing the entire story, it will be a new experience for me. And the first thing we're going to do here is walk through a little bit of character creation. So this is going to kind of be an episode 0. And then we'll get into the game proper in episode 1. If you're new to the channel, we're going to be reading all of the quests and lore items that we get and really focusing on enjoying the story and immersing ourselves in the experience. So the first thing we're going to do, I kind of ran you guys through what the different races look like. And so we're probably going to play as a human in most playthroughs in games like these. I tend to play as a human because since I am a human, I can relate a little bit more to the character and get a little bit more immersed. That's just a me thing. But let's check out some of the descriptions here. So the Haier, the basic humans. The Haier is said to have first traveled the Eorzea from her surrounding continents and islands. 3 great migratory waves later, they are now the most populous of all the civilized races. They exhibit a relatively modest physique, both in height and build, and are known for their particularly short rounded ears. Haiers are well suited for traveling long distances by foot, a trait thought to account for their swift proliferation. Their espousal of eclectic variety of languages and traditions is a legacy of their diverse heritage, as is their resulting lack of a unified cultural identity. Very interesting. Now, if you go into these races, you will see that you have a sub-race for each one. So within humans, we could be a Midlander or a Highlander. Midlander clan comprises over half the total population of Eorzea's heroes. They have established themselves throughout every city and realm and lead lives as diverse as their heritage. Trained from infancy, the Midlanders are generally more educated than many of the other races and clans. Despite the fact that males tend to be slightly taller than females, there are no significant differences between genders. We also have starting attributes there at the bottom, so if you're really into min-maxing, you would pick a class race combination that made sense and maximize the stats that your class wanted. Let's take a look at the Elezen. Obviously like an elvish looking race here. In former times, the Elezen were the sole inhabitants of Eorzea, claiming dominion over her. Traditionally a nomadic people, the tall, slender Elezen believed the realm to be theirs by divine right. Unfortunately, this belief made the eventual appearance of the Haier in their multitudes akin to an invasion, and a long history of conflict ensued. Ultimately, the Elezen diverged into 2 clans that exist today. The Wildwood Elezen took to the forest to protect their homeland, while the Duskwhite Elezen withdrew to their caves and subterrane, opting instead to avoid all contact with any but their own. And so yeah, you'll see if we go in here, we can choose from the Wildwood clan or the Duskwhite clan. And I don't know if we'll read every clan, but I will put them up on the screen, so if you guys wanted to pause and check them out, we'll just read the base descriptions of the races. The Lalafell, a short-looking hobbit-esque people, I suppose. A wee people sporting short, rotund bodies, the Lalafell appears to be no more than children in the eyes of most. Many of these nimble little folk hail from the islands of the South Seas, where they practice simple agricultural lifestyle. It was not until the opening of maritime trade routes that the gradual migration of Lalafels into Eorzea began. Now one of the most well-established races in the realm, Lalafels can be found in great numbers in nearly every city. Though Lalafelan culture places great emphasis on blood relations, individuals are known for getting along amicably with members of all races. And then they also have two different clans. They have the Plains folk and then the Dunes folk. Probably some differences in skin tone and eye color, skin color, and of course the backstories there for both. And moving on to the Mikote. Ancestors of the Mikote made their way to Eorzea during the Age of Endless Frost, traversing the frozen seas in pursuit of the wildlife upon which they subsisted. Adaptation to a hunting lifestyle has fashioned them with keen senses of smell, powerful legs, and a tail which provides them with exceptional balance. Mikote, let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong, is it Mikote? Are known to be very territorial, and many individuals tend to lead solitary lifestyles, particularly males. And then their clans, you can be a seeker of the sun, or a seeker of the moon. Rogadians. Known for their brawny builds and piercing eyes, the Rogadians are the largest and most rugged of Eorzea's races. The majority of the realm's Rogadian belong to the Seawolf clan, a maritime people who earn their keep on or by the sea, be it as sailors, fishermen, or pirates. Comparatively fewer in number are the Helguard, who are known for their more earnest demeanors and can often be found working as bodyguards and smiths. And yeah, there's the Hellsguard and the Seawolves. I'm not sure that all of these sub-clans were in the game when the realm was reborn, in the initial release of A Realm Reborn. I know that some of them were. The Here had the Highlanders and Midlanders. I think that some of the sub-races got added over time. Obviously some races like the Aura got added entirely over time. The Aura, the curved horns and beautiful patterned scales that characterize the Aura often give rise to speculation that members of this Here-like race, native to the far eastern continent of Authard, are, in fact, the progeny of dragons. This, however, has long been disputed, with scholars citing several distinct differences in the two races as evidence of decidedly dissimilar roots. The first and foremost being the enhanced hearing and spatial recognition granted by an Aura's cranial projections, traits not attributed with draconian horns, and the second being the gross disproportion in body mass between Aura males and females, again a trait widely unseen in dragons. So yeah, the males are actually enormous compared to the females. Didn't really notice that before. And then as far as their clans, they have the Zayla and the Ran. Skin tone, hair color differences, eyes are different color. Very interesting. And then the most recently added races are the Hrothgar and the Viera. So the Hrothgar are male-only cat people, and the Viera are female-only, well, bunny rabbit people. Hrothgar, hailing from the distant shores of Ilsabard. The Hrothgar are a burly people of lion-like appearance, or the males are, at least. Females number staggeringly few among their population, and thus are rarely so much as glimpsed by the other races. The Hrothgar's imposing countenance, mitigated not at all by their sharp claws and still sharper fangs, incited panic amongst the Eorzeans upon their arrival. As they were also unable to communicate, initial interactions with the common folk often escalated into conflict. It was not until the Hrothgar gained mastery of the common tongue that fears were allayed, and in time they would be neighbors, welcome in all corners of the realm. And the Viera. Of tall stature and slender frame, the Viera's physical appearance is strikingly similar to that of the Here and Elizin, same for their distinctively long ears. Adhering to a strict code known as the Green Word, they are prohibited from contact with the outside world under threat of exile. Their society is purely matriarchal, and males of age are seldom, if ever, found within the bounds of any village. They instead serve as protectors of the wood from the shadows, that no evil may ever encroach on their sacred lands. Alright, so that's a rundown of just all the basic different characters you can be. You can see, I don't know if these guys have clans. Oh look, they do. Hellions and the Lost. Oh, look at that, the Lost have a little horn on them. That's very interesting. Oops. And then what did we have? What do we have for the Vieira as far as clans? We have the Rava and the Vina. So one lives in the jungles, one lives in the mountains, it looks like. Very cool. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build out a character. It is going to be a human, and then once that's done, we'll talk a little bit about classes and what that's going to be like. Alright, so here is the human character we are going to be going with, and now we need to talk about different classes. So we're just going to kind of go through and cover all the different classes available to us. Something unique about classes in Final Fantasy XIV is that they will branch and they will become other classes, sometimes just by leveling up a type of class, either a Disciple of War or a Disciple of Magic to a certain level, will unlock another available class. The other important thing to point out about Final Fantasy's class system is that one character can max out all of the classes in the game. Obviously that takes some effort, but what it means is that your character, your one character, has the ability to switch classes and to level different classes as you play the game. Obviously you're going to want to pick a class, focus on it till that's maxed out, but you can then go back and level up other classes instead of having to roll alternates. Imagine having, instead of 12 alternates, you have a character that has just simply maxed out all of those jobs, how versatile that character can be, and how attached to them you would be because of that versatility. So, the choice we have right now is just what our starting class is going to be. The starting class is going to determine where we start the game. There's 3 different cities, lands rather, that we can start out of. And our class is going to determine where we begin. Now that's up to level 15, and then we'll have the ability to easily change between the 3 main starting zones. So first let's cover the Disciples of War. Up first we have the Gladiator, which is going to become the basic tanking class, sword and shield. Gladiators specialize in the handling of all manner of one-handed blades, from daggers to long swords, be they single or double-edged, straight or curved. A defining characteristic of the art is its emphasis on diverse combat tactics, training its members to bring their martial skills to bear in any situation. As such, there are practitioners who marry sword with shield, seeking to defend their fellow companions. Others opt for an empty offhand, choosing instead to focus entirely on their sword arm. In all instances, the age-old art of the sword makes the gladiator a formidable adversary in any encounter. Now as you level up the Gladiator, that at level 30 will become the Paladin class, and continue to be your primary sword and board tanking class. And as we can see down here, that starts in the city of Ul'dah, and we can cover those as we come to them, I guess. So if we're picking a class that starts in Ul'dah, the bustling commercial hub of Ul'dah sits amid the desolate desert landscape of southern Aldernard. Ul'dah culture is known for its affluence, and the wealth of the nation comes in large part from its abundant mineral resources and cloth crafting industry. Though it is the Sultanate who claims sovereignty, the true power is wielded by the Syndicate, a council sat by 6 of Ul'dah's most elite and influential. Now Thal is the nation's patron deity, and 2 great halls devoted to his 2 aspects lie in the east and west of the city. Alright, other classes here. The Pugilist, also starting in Ul'dah. The path of the Pugilist is one of incessant training aimed at mastering the traditional techniques of hand-to-hand combat. Though they command formidable power when unarmed, they are wont to use metal, leather, and bone weaponry to maximize their destructive potential. Their preference for fighting at close quarters makes negotiating distances an absolute necessity. This is why many pugilists are quick to learn that lightweight gear allowing for maximum agility ensures them better success in battle than does cumbersome plate or chain. So this becomes a monk. Melee, close quarters, using your fist. As it said, light armor. And then we have the Marauder, which starts in Limsa Lominsa. The Marauder is a combat specialist whose weapon of choice is the Great Axe, a fearsome arm emblematic of Eorzea's pirates. Their approach to battle is one of brute force, relying on strength and steel to crush enemies and sunder weapons. They are highly sought after for their ferocity and intimidating presence, and are often employed to hunt down monsters plaguing the land, or to turn the tide of battle between warring nations. So, as a marauder, we would start in Limsa Lominsa. Let's take a look at that information. On the southern coast of the island of Vilbrund, under the shadow of the ancient cliffs worn by the relentless onslaught of the Rotano Sea, lies the thalassocracy of Limsa Lominsa. Its economy is driven primarily by shipping, but boasts lucrative shipbuilding, fishing, and smithing industries as well. To maintain the safety of its maritime routes, the city employs a formidable navy, known as the Knights of the Barracuda. Even so, pirate bands run rampant in nearby waters, reaving and pillaging. Next up in the Disciples of War, we have a Lancer. Lancers start in Gridania. The strategy of the Lancer is to outrange and fluster opponents with their long two-handed polearms, peppering them with a barrage of thrusting attacks. They are trained with a number of weapons, giving a diversity to their attacks that makes them extremely versatile combatants. In former times, the long spear saw the most widespread use, due in great part to the influence of the proud Lancer legions of Almigo. Since then, the guild has greatly expanded its armories to include a variety of weapons, such as the halberd and the tridents. Lancer is going to turn into Dragoon, and if I didn't mention it, I apologize. Marauder becomes a warrior, which is also a tank. You're going to be still handling this giant axe, but you will be a tank or off tank as a warrior. Lancer becomes a Dragoon, so that's going to be focused on melee DPS. And they start off in Gridania, the last of the three starting areas, so let's take a look at that information down here. In the eastern reaches of the Aldenard landmass, home to vast, dense woodlands and coursing rivers, lies the forest nation of Gridania. The cityscape is a mosaic of labyrinthine waterways and great wooded structures, so gracefully constructed they seem a part of the surrounding environment. The favored goddess of the citizenry is Nofika, the matron, but great faith is also placed in the wisdom of the Seed Seers, young oracles who guide the nation based on the will of the forest elementals. And then we have Archer, also starting in Gridania, the last of the Disciples of War. The enduring popularity of the bow is a testament to its elegant design, but this simple weapon would be of little worth without the surpassing skill of those who master it, the archers. Projectile techniques such as high-angle fire enable archers to assail their foes with deadly precision even at great distances. The constant assessment of the battlefield enables them to carefully determine the most advantageous ground from which to loose, as well as the nature of the arrows best suited to their enemy. Together with the longbow sentries of the Elezen military, the short-bow hunters among the Makot are widely regarded as the most skilled with the bow. And that is all your Disciples of War, basically your physical classes that are going to deal physical damage, or your tanks. Or in the Archer, you're going to have some physical DPS. The Archer will become a Bard, and that will be more of a DPS and support class that is actually really interesting. And then we have the Disciples of Magic. Obviously, a little bit of disparity in the number here at the very beginning of what we have to choose from. But we have 3 Disciples of Magic, starting with the Conjurer. Conjury calls upon elemental forces present in nature and concentrates them into a potency at which spells can be woven. Through practice meditation on the essences of creation, conjurers draw forth and absorb aether from the immediate surroundings. A wand or cane made from unworked wood is then utilized to focus the aether until it manifests as the desired spell. The seat of the Conjurers Guild lies at the Stillglade Fane in Gridania, where the voices of Eorzea's elementals are said to be the most powerful. So Conjurer becomes the White Mage. They do have elemental damage they can hurl around. Obviously you need that while questing, and then they become a White Mage, which is the quintessential healer. Would be what the White Mage's role would be in the game. Thaumaturge. In the hands of a skilled practitioner, thaumaturgy can be a force of terrifying destruction. At the heart of this school of magic lies the ability to call forth and command the latent aether within oneself through deep introspection. To then mold that aether into sorcery, the thaumaturge makes use of a scepter or staff, within which houses a medium, a natural stone imbued with magical properties. As a thaumaturge and then later as a black mage, we would be hurling all kinds of devastating elemental spells, primarily fire and frost, as well as some lightning and other unaspected damage. So big spells, range damage, basically a mage class. And then we have the Arcanist. Adepts at the art of Arcanum derive their might from symbols of power born of geometric techniques hailing from across the southern seas. Held within occult grimoires, these symbols lend shape to the Arcanist Aether, thereby allowing him or her to produce myriad powerful spells. Using the selfsame symbols to unlock the latent power contained within gemstones, Arcanists are also able to summon forth the familiar known as Carbuncle to carry out their bidding. So as an Arcanist, beginning class, we have Carbuncle to help us out. He's a little pet that we can call forth, and he'll tank a little bit, do some damage for us. Later on, we become a summoner, and we can summon forth creatures more powerful, such as maybe Ifrit or Shiva. And we also, through leveling the Arcanist, we get access to the Scholar class as well. The Scholar class is a healer class that relies on fairy pets for healing, if I understand that correctly. So now, we've taken a look at everything, and it's time for me to decide what we are going to run our journey with. Where are we going to begin? Let's see. Alright guys, I think I've decided that what we're going to do is we're going to start off with Arcanist. So this is going to allow us to eventually become a summoner. It's also going to level up the Scholar job as well. So if we do want to heal, and healing is something that I very much enjoy in MMORPGs, as we level up our summoner, the Scholar class actually shares levels with that, so it kind of levels it at the same time, and I think it's the only class that does that. So yeah, I think we're going to start off on the Arcanist. That's going to put us in Limsa Lominsa. Downside of Limsa Lominsa, a little bit of a downside, is that a lot of the characters have this really strange faux pirate accent that as the expansions of the game go on, once you get out of A Realm Reborn, they get rid of a lot of those little accents they tried to do for different people living in different regions. But we will have to deal with some of that. But yeah, this is what we're going to do. I think this is going to give us a lot of different opportunities for gameplay style. We can be a DPS caster, or we can just go heals. So it's going to be pretty interesting. That's what our gear would look like. You know, the basic summoner gear. Let's go ahead and let's get right into things, shall we?
Hydaelyn. A vibrant planet blessed by the light of the crystal. Amid azure seas, encompassing the westernmost of the 3 great continents, there lies a realm embraced by gods and forged by heroes. Her name, Eorzea. The annals of Eorzean history chart the rise of a succession of great civilizations, each one enjoying an age of peace, the Astral Eras. To date, all have proven ephemeral. In the year 1572 of the 6th and most recent Astral Era, the Northern Empire of Garlemald amassed a great army at the heart of Eorzea, seeking dominion over all. Rising in desperate resistance, the forces of the Eorzean Alliance met their would-be conquerors in the field. Yet, even as the battle raged, the lesser moon, Dalamud, was plucked from the heavens through imperial machination. From its core emerged the elder primal Bahamut, who unleashed his fury upon the realm. The devastation brought Eorzea to its knees and the era to its end. 5 years have come and gone. The light of life still shines upon Eorzea. Man labors tirelessly to raise himself from the calamity's ruin. The realm is forever changed, a stranger to him once more. Yet heedless of what lies ahead, he shall press on. Spurred by the promise of peace and prosperity. Amid this period of great change, an adventurer arrives in Eorzea, one whose tale is yet unwritten.
And also, if anybody is interested, we will be playing on the Lamia server, which is a North American server. So come join me.
Here. Here. Feel. Hear, feel, think.
Alright, so right away we get some pretty interesting story content there. Not sure really what was going on at this point. You were mourning in your sleep, sweating buckets besides. Rolling to the ship, got your stomach churning, has it? Don't seem like seasickness now that I look at you. It'll be the Aether then, I reckon. Some are more sensitive to the stuff than others, see, and we ain't too far from Vilbred now, which is chock full of Aetherites. No need to fret though, you'll soon get used to it. Ugh, might as well have been bloomin' seasickness. Ship's leaping around like a demented chocobo today. I reckon I might head out on deck, get myself a breath of fresh air. Limsa Laminsa's still a fair way off, in case you were wondering. Seeing as you're awake and all, how's about you keep me company till we get there? Them youngins don't much care for conversation, see? Any road, Brennan's the name, and peddlin's me trade. I feel like I need to turn the volume up a little bit, especially the music volume. Ah, smell that salty breeze? Now then, lass, judging by your unusual garments, I'd say you were one of them new adventurers. Am I warm? I knew it. Going wherever the wind blows, seeking fortune and glory, now that's what I call living. So long as you can avoid dying, I mean. Ain't no secret that adventuring's a risky business, these days especially. What was it that first attracted you to it? Let's see. Probably just for glory. I don't know. All these are kind of self-centered. Maybe we say nothing. Well, if you ain't inclined to tell, I ain't about to pry. Might be his old Brennan's a chatterbox, but he sure as hell ain't no busybody. We all have a secret or three, don't we? Me? Dozens. And I'd rather they stay secret too, which is why I don't go sticking me nose where it ain't welcome. Just remember though, there are more important things than fortune and glory, such as breathing. Ain't no profit in being dead, and that's a fact. Seems legitimate advice. Oh, now what? We're being shelled. Ships off the starboard bow. Pirate colors. Pirates? Bloody hells. Have you no sense? Get below. Well, that seemed easy enough. What is the world coming to? Pirates firing on a ship flying Lominsan colors? Bastards either have a boatload of balls, or bugger all for brains. You can rest easy, friends. We made it out of cannon range, and no buccaneer's bark will catch this flighty temptress once the wind's in her sails. That was too bleeding close. Glad one of us kept her head on her shoulders. I reckon I'd have lost mine otherwise. If them pirates gave up the chase, we must be close to port. Let's head up on deck and have us a look, shall we? Yeah, we tried that once and then we got shelled. I'm surprised we didn't have to fight off some pirates there. In the original release of Final Fantasy XIV, if I remember correctly, the ship was attacked by some kind of monster and we did have to fight a couple monsters on deck with their, at the time, atrocious battle system. By the by, is this your first trip to Lominsa? Yes. It is. Well then, let this journeyed itinerant tell you the ins and outs of your destination. Lominsa prides itself on being Eorzea's foremost naval power. Weren't too long ago the place was ruled by pirates, but thanks to the current admiral's civilizing influence, the city-state could almost pass for a respectable nation. You'd never guess she was once a rum-swilling buccaneer herself. Of course, most folk ain't so quick to change, and with a town full of liberty-loving ruffians, you can imagine how many naysayers and troublemakers she's got to deal with. Like them pirates who took a fancy to us just now. And if that weren't bad enough, I've heard the Sahagin are raiding the coast just as bold as you please. Them are the sea-dwelling beastmen the locals call fishbacks, case you don't know. Ah, long last, land ho. Behold Lominsa, a nation blessed by the ocean's bounty and beloved of Lemurian, goddess of navigation. Are we getting a full-on intro motion video?
On a windswept
yeah?
isle in the southwestern corner of the realm. Amidst the roiling waves of the Lotano Sea lies the maritime city-state of Lominsa. To this haven for bandits and brigands, cutthroats and curs, seekers of both freedom and fortune, comes a lone adventurer. Lone yet not alone, for the hero's arrival has drawn the gaze of the nation's patron deity, Lim Lane. What realm-shaking fate has she descried in the churning waters of this mortal's future?
And here's where we part ways, lass. I'm off to the markets to deliver me wares, then it's on to the high road for me. Here, I want you to have this, by way of thanks for saving me arse earlier. Hey, you never did tell me your name, did you? Well, here's an idea. Become the sort of storied personage I can brag about having met, and I'll consider us square. I like how we got that bit of narration and we get information about what's going on in the world. Oh, it's not over.
Discovery and triumph, may the navigator guide this brave soul on her life's voyage.
Seamless.
Till sea swallows all.
Wow. I really enjoy that. I mean, you could say, well, that's a little bit corny, but it's not. It's really well done. It puts the focus of the story on your character. Look at that. The title screen. Minutes in. Beautiful. And I'm assuming they have to have one like that for each starting zone. I don't remember that little bit that just happened with the voiceover narration. I think that's really cool. Tells you about the nation a little bit, about some of the troubles they're having with the Sahagin, the fish people. And it puts the focus on your character as someone who's going to be important, even though you're coming from these humble beginnings. It really makes you feel like you're going to etch your mark into this world. I really like that, how we start off. Hey, you there. Hi, I mean you. This is my district, and I make it my business to know all the scum that washes up in it. Ah, an adventurer fresh off the boat, is it? Well then. Allow one of Lim's finest to set you on the right path. Hop to it, lass. I haven't got all day. Alright, we're hopping to it. Here we go. Welcome to Lim's a bustling city-state filled with scoundrels and brigands. The rough-cut diamond of the Rotano Sea. Please select a control scheme. We're going to go with mouse and keyboard. Really cool that you can use a gamepad inbuilt, which is not an option you have in World of Warcraft. Let's get rid of the help windows. I'll explain new elements as they come up from now on. Let's close all this out. I am going to make some quick changes to the HUD layout here. You can go into HUD and you can basically move any of the elements around that you want. So I'm just going to maximize the screen space a little bit. By moving a lot of the elements down. And moving some of them just off, just getting as much screen real estate as I can just for the game itself. Like all this stuff does not need to be spread apart, it can be stacked up over here in the corner. Our cast bar can come down. And let's save that. There we go. That'll give us a little bit more space on our screen. I already have this minimized down here. Alright, let's take our first steps here from Reesflow. To be recognized as an adventurer in the city-state of Limsa, you must first register yourself with the Adventurers Guild. Now then, I'm sure you're itching to explore, but adventurers are required to register their presence in the city, and without a bit of local knowledge, you're like to get your throat slit some piss-stinking alley. So before you do anything else, get yourself over to the Drowning Wench and enroll with the Adventurers Guild. The Drowning Wench sounds like a welcoming place. It's not far. Just head straight down this street and speak with Greffar. He'll show you how to work that big moving platform we call the Crow's Lift, and that'll take you up to the pub. Once you're there, look for a fellow by the name of Baderon. Baderon? He's the proprietor of the Wench. He might curse like an ale-sodden sailor, but the man's got a soft spot for wide-eyed newcomers like yourself. He'll set you straight. Got all that? Good. Now run along, and may the navigator guide you on your journey. So Baderon's the one with the really interesting accent that's pretty hard for me to sight read. I do a pretty good job of sight reading everything else. So we have our first trackable quest over here. It's telling us, so up here we can always see our main scenario quest, and we can track our class quest. We're not going to be doing probably any side quests that we can avoid in this playthrough. We should be able to level exclusively with main story quests, so quests that are going to be important to the overall plot or pertinent to the plot of our class and learning how to become a better Arcanist and then Summoner. Welcome to Limbs of Laminza. If you've a mind to visit the Drowning Wench, the Crow's Lift will take you there. Yes, let's go. Alright, we can have a little look around. If it is rumors or like-minded fellows you seek, then you have made the right choice in coming to this tavern. It is a lodestone for all manner of travelers and explorers. Some of these people we can talk to, some of them are not interested in talking to us. The Drowning Wench will always be a favorite among pirates. She's cheap, she's loaded with grog, and she never says no. Okay. It's been a favorite haunt of adventurers for nigh on 20 years, ever since a retired freelance and his comrades established the Adventurers Guild here. Interesting. Anybody else have anything to share? Newly come to Limbs of Laminza adventure? Then I suggest you speak with Baderon, the owner of the Drowning Wench. Think of him as our guide to our fair city. Okay, we'll get on with it. And here's Baderon, our guide to the fair city. I love the cutscenes. Greetings to you, lass. What'll it be? Ah, but you ain't after a drink, are you? You've come with a mind to try your hand at adventuring, I reckon. Well, you'll find no shortage of work here in Limza. The name's Baderon, and this most hospitable of osteries is the Drowning Wench. 'Tis also the home of the Adventurers Guild here in Limza. That's why we've got a desk, especially for handling guild business, and why I seem to spend more time saving the necks of whelps like yourself than wetting the throats of irregulars. Adventurers have a knack for finding trouble, you see. Not that they need it in these parts, on account of there being trouble wherever you look. If you manage to steer clear of the fishbacks and the kobolds outside the city, the pirates on the inside will get you instead. And if they don't manage, there's always the Garlean Empire to finish the job. Oh, no one knows what they're planning, of course. But if they're planning anything, you can be sure it's to kill a lot of us. Aye, this town seems peaceful at a glance, but look again, and you'll see a people living in fear of what tomorrow might bring. And who can blame them, after everything that's happened? Eorzea took a mighty blow during the calamity, but our homes weren't the only things what got wiped off the face of existence by that thrice-damned bastard of a dragon. It took our bleeding memories too, and no one's been able to explain it in a way that makes sense. So, let's pause for a lore check here. I talked about how they ended the original release of Final Fantasy XIV, the one that failed basically, with a big plot event. Basically, yeah, the world got decimated by a cataclysm. Everyone lost their memory of what happened in those events, so that's what we're referencing here. Not only was there a calamity, caused by Bahamut, no one remembers exactly what happened at the end. And we also lost some other memories. None of the folks what saw it and lived to tell the tale seem to agree on how the tale actually goes. 'Tis all foggy, like recollections from an hard night of the ale. You can imagine why people might fear for the future if they can't rightly recall the past. But there is one thing we all remember, and that's the group of adventurers what laid down their lives to drag Eorzea back from the brink when she was bound for the abyss. Well, I say we remember. Truth is, though we ain't forgotten what they did for us, this goddamn calamity-spawned memory loss robbed us of their names. It won't even let us picture their damn faces. 'Tis like staring at a gull flying in front of the sun. All you see in your mind's eye is a shadow set against the blinding glare, and that's how every bugger describes it, by the way, give or take the odd gull. It's this what's got people calling these heroes the Warriors of Light. If Limbs is ever going to put this time of darkness behind it, it's going to need adventurers to help banish the fear. It's going to need new heroes like the ones we lost. Maybe one day you'll be one of them, and that's why any aid we can give to adventurers is effort well spent. What say ye? You willing to lend us your strength? Yeah, that's exactly why we're here. Me thanks to you, and to the navigator and all. I knew she'd steer you my way for a reason. But listen to me yattering on like a sun-touched fishwife. 'Tis high time we got your mark in me book. Put your scrawl right there. A fine name that is. I agree. Congratulations, you're now an upstanding member of the Adventurers Guild. You there, adventurer. You sailed in off the last ferry, did you not? The captain reported being attacked by a pirate vessel, and several witnesses have testified independently that a passenger matching your description went out on deck mere moments before the incident took place. Sending your friend signals, were you? Now hold on just a moment there, officer. You've got the wrong lass. This fine upstanding young lady is me dear departed grandma's sister's niece's cousin's closest companion. The lass wouldn't be caught dead fraternising with such unsavory elements. Is that right? You are surely aware of the recent kidnappings? Respectfully, then, we cannot be too trusting of outsiders at a time when the loyalty of even our closest friends is in doubt. Aye, you make a good point there, officer, a very good point. Very wise. You needn't worry, though. I keep one eye open at all times. Me and two more often than not. Now, sir, what say ye to a tankard of my finest ale afore you return to your duties, eh? Not a watered-down cup of piss like last time, I should hope. Ain't got the faintest idea what you're on about, officer. The wench might offer some of the cheapest grog this side of the Strait of Marathol, but that don't mean it won't get you good and pickled. And look, there's a chair over there just crying out to be sat on. So kick off them heavy boots, eh? Quite a smooth talker, as we would expect a bartender to be. You'll have to excuse these eager bloody yellow jackets. There's been a spate of kidnappings, see, and they ain't got a clue who's behind them. Naturally, they've taken to clapping irons on anyone who looks vaguely suspicious, which means adventurers, visitors, and pretty much every bugger else in this town. Don't take it personal, though. Us Lominzans can be an headstrong bunch of bastards, 'tis true, but given time, we grow on you. Now, where was I? Oh aye, welcome to Limsa Lominza, where the sea is as green as the faces of me patrons after a few too many blackberry whiskies. Now, take a moment to gather your wits, and we'll get started with learning the ways of the city. I'm ready. Let's explore the city. Let's go, 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 go. Very little experience. This concludes the introductory game tutorial. Okay. You have taken your first steps as an adventurer into the city of Limsa Lominza. Listen well to the wisdom of Baderon Tenfingers, then go forth and discover the incredible adventures that await you. Okay, a little bit of tutorialization, never bad. So this kind of icon here is going to tell us it is a main story quest, and those are the ones we are focused on doing. Baderon, proprietor to the Drowning Wench, wants you to perform 3 tasks that will help you learn the fundamentals of adventuring. Right then, let's start you off nice and easy with 3 tasks that'll help you get used to life here in Limsa. Firstly, if you head down a floor, then point your nose to the west, you'll get an eyeful of the great glowing crystal in the middle of the courtyard. That's an aetheryte, a device what can move you from one place to another in the blink of an eye. Ain't no swifter way to travel, providing there's an aetheryte where you want to go, of course. Have a chat with the yellow jacket on guard down there, and you'll be treated to a lecture on the workings of the device. Before you do that though, remember to touch the thing. Strange as it sounds, it won't work till you have. Second on the list is the marketplace. You'll find weapons and armor and all sorts of adventure and bits and pieces for sale in the district what lies beyond the aetheryte. Don't go throwing your gill around just yet though, or you'll be fleeced quicker than you can say, "Why is me coin purse so light?" Have a word with Snozblate instead. He's the head of the Merchants League, by the way. Give him this old octant, and he'll treat you well. For the last of me helpful hints, I suggest you meet with some fellow spellslingers at the Arcanist Guild. I guarantee you'll learn a few new tricks for your tome if you decide to join their crew. Miri at the front desk is the one to get you started. Got that? Seeing to them 3 tasks, he'll take you a little jaunt around the city and help you work out where everything is. Now, I'd best be getting on. Run along. Bugger it. There I go, sending you off without telling you something crucial. That bloody calamity's made a right mess of me memory, I swear. Well, that or the ale. Any road, while you're out there, if you happen to pass any poor sods who look like they might need your help, consider giving their tale of woe a listen. Sounds like a chore, I admit, but you never know what interesting opportunities could be lurking out there just waiting for you to stumble on them. For example, Nania over Wander's been casting glances at you since you waltzed in. Why not lend an ear and see what she has to say? Aye, you're like to find yourself running odd errands in the beginning, but once you build a reputation as a woman folk can trust, the jobs will get harder, the rewards more generous. If you've the time, I'd also seek the advice of the smith here in Wench. The lads as bear that title have some fine advice for them what are just starting out in the profession. Ah, that, my girl, is how you go about becoming a legend among adventurers. Alright, we have things to do. That's good. We will grab this one side quest here. Maybe it's just a go pick things up quest for Nania. Nania, a veteran adventurer, has some information that might be of interest to you. Well, would you look at this? A shiny new adventure. Listen close, lass. I have some information that might just help put you on the map here in Limsa. I was passing through Bulwark Hall below not too long ago and saw a bunch of herbs just scattered about on the ground. Now, I'm not entirely certain, but I think they might have been the black market wares known as dream flowers. Limsa Laminza is a busy port, and not all the merchants that blow in across the strait are above board, if you know what I mean. How'd the plants end up in the mizzenmast? Who knows? Might have been a deal gone bad. The important thing is you make a name for yourself by handing them in. Speak to Scariol, and she'll get you down to the first floor. Then all you have to do is pick up the herbs, take them to someone at the Octant. Being a worldly captain, he knows a thing or two about such shady goods. Okay, so we just have a basic quest to start us off here. Seems easy enough. Let's take the lift down. And let's take a look at the map here. So, objectives are going to be marked on our map. These are the things we need to pick up for the quest we just grabbed. Any icons like this are going to be a side quest, and it will tell us what level is appropriate. Any icon like this is telling us where we have to go to turn in or complete or work on a currently tracked quest, and it will tell us the name of that quest that we can then compare to our quest log. So that's the basics of how the map works. We're also going to head to the aetheryte once we pick all these peculiar herbs off the ground. Apparently they are not a welcome substance here in the city. And of course we'll turn them into the authorities. Of course. One thing I want to do with the system is I want to turn my own name off. I don't really see why I would need to have that on. Now if I can actually figure out where we would do that, that would be really something. Character configuration, most likely. Names. We don't need our own name. There we go. I just don't want to see our name floating above our head all the time. I think that's kind of pointless. And did we miss one in here somewhere? Or no, it's ahead of us. I could look on the map if I were being smart. There we go. And we can turn these into him. You have some herbs you wish me to examine? Yes. Yes, as you suspected, these are highly illegal blooms known as dream flowers. They are prime ingredients in the creation of somnus, a substance whose fragrance is said to lull the sniffer's mind to the sleep of death. Forgive me, I cannot resist the jest. These herbs are not more than Elphic lavender, a common enough export from Limsa Lominsa. In fact, these probably spilled from the crates that were loaded onto my very own ship. I think someone has been having a bit of fun with you, miss, but not to worry, you've learned a few things and made a new acquaintance. Well met. So not illegal weed after all, just totally legal weed. Might have overdone it there with the music. Alright, let's focus on our main quest. So we have to attune ourselves to the Aetheryte here. Now Aetherytes are going to let us teleport throughout a city. They're going to let us teleport at a cost throughout the world. They're very important as a means of travel and very, very convenient once you've attuned to all of them. Ah, another novice adventurer. Aye, Beteron has sent more than a few of your kind this way of late. I am Sundimal, one of the Yellow Jackets, tasked with keeping the peace in the city. It is also my charge to provide guidance in the use of this device. Fear not, I shall be brief. Aetherytes are crystalline structures that tap into ethereal energies. They are primarily used as a means to travel swiftly from one place to another. Return and teleport, the most common transportation spells, make direct use of Aetherytes and their connection to the flow of Aether. As these devices are found in almost every corner of Eorzea, any adventurer worthy of the name will wish to seek out and attune herself to each one. Once you have expanded your horizons beyond the walls of the city, you will soon find yourself performing the act of attunement as a matter of course. There is, however, no need for unseemly haste. The Aetherytes found in and around the city will be sufficient for you at present, I assure you. Should you wish to learn more about Aetherytes or transportation magic, I will be here to answer your questions. I think we get it. We learned to return, so we can kind of set one as our home. Right now that's going to be this one. As far as our other quests, we need to check out the market and talk to Swozblade. Very, very crowded here. I love the visual differences, how distinct every player looks from each other. Let's figure out the ambient sounds. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. The ambient sounds really do make the city seem alive, though, I will say that. A fine day to you, madame. Welcome to the most replete marketplace in the grand realm of Eorzea, where every shelf groans under the weight of wonders born from all corners of the world. Pray browse the stalls until your eyeballs ache from the ogling of the overabundance of unbelievable bargains. Now, as much as I would love to elaborate upon the unrivaled quality of our merchandise, I must tend to some cargo but recently arrived at the docks. You bear a gift from Beteron. Whatever could it... Ah, my octant. By the navigator, I must have left it behind in the wench, along with a week's pay and several bells worth of intoxicated memories. I am most grateful to have it back. This tool is a keepsake from my days as a ship captain, you see. Needless to say, your good deed must be repaid, and what better recompense than the wisdom of a master merchant? If it is simple and sturdy adventuring equipment you seek, you need look no further than the east and west arms of Hawker's Alley. Lest you doubt, each gil you invest in arms and armor will be money well spent. Adventuring is, after all, a dangerous profession by its very nature. It goes without saying that Hawker's Alley boasts stalls specializing in tools of every martial discipline imaginable. And within a few steps are bazaars and apothecaries that will most amply supply all your potion and perishable needs. Our keen-eyed agents procure a frankly befuddling range of wares during their sojourns to distant shores, so it pays to become familiar with the type and price of the goods offered by each stall. Such knowledge will serve you well if your purse is light or your time is short. Ah, but verbal instruction of this kind will only profit you so much. Experience has ever been the surest teacher, if not the kindest. I invite you to explore the markets for yourself. Alright, yeah, okay, we can do that. Does he have a follow-up? No, I'm trying not to do a lot of side quests, but if he has something easy. Suppose about the Master Merchant of Hawker's Alley wants you to look into the current market prices, okay? You, miss, adventurer, I have work for you. I would have you pose as a customer and survey the market's current prices. Surely I did not see you balk at so simple a task. All you need to do is strike up a conversation with the shop owners and glance over their wares. There are 3 merchants that interest me: Iron Thunder, Kyokurun, and Sin Hill. Write down all you see on their price list and hand it to Bengsing on West Hawker's Alley. He shall reward you for your service. That seems too easy to pass up, so let's just go ahead and knock that one out. So we're just going to talk to each of these guys. This is not a story quest, so... but it should be easy experience since it's on our way to the Arcanist Guild, and we do have to go to the Arcanist Guild for our main quest close to home. And then it turns into this guy over here. Pretty straightforward for a little bit of experience. There's our list we've compiled. Alright, moving on to the main quest. Oh, also in the world of Eorzea here, there's actually active time happening. You can see that the sun is now going down. We can set it to Eorzea time. We can see it's 5:21 p.m. So I think that while I'm playing, I'll probably leave it in Eorzea time. I think that's really interesting to know what time of day it is and to watch the rotation of the day. I don't know if different creatures are out at different times of day or not. I'm not sure that's a real thing. Alright, let's meet the receptionist here at the Arcanist Guild. Welcome to the Arcanist Guild. It is here that we research and develop the field of Arcanima? Arcanima. Arcanima is the science of employing arcane geometries, intricate patterns that map the unlocked mysteries of existence, to draw forth and manipulate the body's etheric energies. Ah, but if I am not mistaken, you already possess some rudimentary understanding of the craft. Shall I deepen your knowledge of our history as well? The roots of Arcanima can be traced back to the esoteric calculations practiced by the people of the South Sea Isles. It was these island folk that first discovered a method to express natural phenomenon in mathematical terms. Building on this process, the existing mathematical formula were further developed into arcane geometries, precise patterns that allowed a practitioner to weave ether into specific magical effects. The mages who invoked this new form of magic became known as Arcanists, and the school of Arcanima was born. The word that I may struggle with forever, Arcanima, got it. Many such mages wishing to expand their understanding of the world took to the seas aboard trading vessels. Upon their arrival in Limsa Lominsa, Arcanists found themselves welcomed into the academic elite and soon secured positions in the realms of governance and council. The knowledge of the Arcanist, however, is traditionally passed on from master to chosen disciple. As such, Admiral Merwib counting several wielders of Arcanima among her personal staff, became concerned that this exclusionary practice would lead to the eventual extinction of the art. So, at the Admiral's expressed orders, an official Arcanist guild was established, and funding was provided to research and training. The complex and demanding nature of Arcanima, however, remains the greatest threat to its own future. If you would continue your study of this challenging discipline, then I must insist that you indicate your commitment to joining our guild. Yes, we can indicate our commitment to joining the guild. I love the detail in all the shop fronts and everything you can see, from post-it notes to notice boards to pen quills. The interiors in this game are amazing. Sorry. Well, have you decided to enroll in our guild? Or are you now intimidated by the thought of excessive thinking? Let's go ahead and enroll. Your sound judgment is to be commended. Now, standard practice dictates that I introduce you to our guild master that you might convey your intentions in person. Due to extraordinary circumstances, however, he is unreachable at present. Instead, you may speak with Mistress Thumbgrim. I wish they had normal names, guys, but they don't. She has shouldered full responsibility for the guild's leadership in the interim. The names get better as the expansions go on, I promise. You will find her just over there, by the bookshelves. You needn't be shy. Though her mind is sharp and critical, her manner is always most welcoming. Alright. Thubigurm, I'm not even going to keep trying. Let's just see what she has to say. Greetings, and welcome to the Arcanist Guild. As Miri has doubtlessly explained, I am serving as acting guildmaster until our wayward leader deigns to return. I assume our capable receptionist also spoke of our art's origins. Allow me, then, to expound upon its nature. Arcanima taps into the living energies of Aether. The evidence of this is represented most aptly, perhaps, by our ability to manifest the arcane entity Carbuncle, and the manner of magic which this ethereal ally employs at our command. The core of the discipline, however, is found in the pure pursuit of definitive solutions to any potential quandary. Even on the field of battle, nay, especially on the field of battle, this principle takes precedence. If one wishes to make certain the question of victory, then one must apply the most effective strategy. An Arcanist is measured in her ability to calmly analyze the situation from moment to moment and respond with the most appropriate spells at hand. The study of Arcanima will test your mental faculties to the point of perplexity. Are you prepared to reason your way through predicament after predicament? Yeah, we've played Classic WoW, we're ready. An unambiguous response, the kind I most prefer. Let us now see if the clarity of your words is matched by the sharpness of your mind. In Lower Lenocia you will find, among others, 3 species of pests: wharf rats, little ladybugs, and orlae. I ask that you employ your skill in Arcanima to eradicate 3 of each type of creature. Leave the city through the Tempest Gate, and you will soon encounter the potential targets in abundance. As long as you remain focused, I do not foresee these opponents causing you or your budding abilities any undue difficulty. Once you return from completing this preliminary trial, I will welcome you as an official member of the Arcanist Guild. May your judgment remain swift and clear. Alright, guys, we're going to get into some action soon. I know. It's a slow start, I will say. If you are starting up a playthrough of Final Fantasy XIV, it's a slow start to get going. There's a lot to learn. For instance, right now we're attuning to these minor aetherite shards. These are going to be found all throughout the city, and they allow us to teleport to locations throughout the city. So that's kind of an important thing. As you go through, you really want to find all the aetherites and map yourself to them. That being said, I think we need to run back and grab the one down here. We have a sprint ability. We do need to change some key bindings. Bear with me for 1 minute. This should not take long. We're going to go to our hotbar. And these are buttons I have on my mouse that I have 6 buttons that are really easy to hit. They help me out a lot in MMOs. And then I always change this to my tilde key. There we go. Alright, we got a good sprint. 20 seconds, not bad. And it has a 1 minute cooldown. Your best bet is when you first are in a city, just go ahead and run around, attune yourselves to all the Aetherite shards. You'll be able to teleport around the city much more easily that way. And I can kind of demonstrate that. If we wanted to, we can go ahead from here. And we can teleport back to the main plaza. Just like that. Takes a couple of seconds, and you can already hear that we're back in the main plaza. Very cool. And now we do need to get back to the Drowning Wench. Before we head out, I want to head back to Banderon to make sure he doesn't have a follow-up for us. So let's go ahead and we'll head back down the lift. Once you learn to navigate the cities and use the Aetherites, they're not as intimidating as they seem. But they are pretty complex, fully realized, and really awesome looking cities, all three of the main cities. At least that's my opinion. Ah, there you are. Enjoy your jaunt around the city, did you? If you mean to base yourself in Limsa Laminza, that won't be the last time you'll visit them three places. And now you've got some idea of what's where, you can start exploring the rest of town. You've shown a good ear for listening. Stick with old Banderon and you'll go far. Another easy quest completed. And then assuming, well, we will have a follow-up at level 4. So we have a few things we need to accomplish. Like, for instance, we need to head out of town here and see about taking on that quest. Now let's head back down to the elevator. And this should lead us to where we can get out of town. If we click on the quest, it'll tell us, you know, where it's at. So we need to head to Lower Lenosia. Which is not Middle Lenosia. Let's head this way. It could be that we're just on the wrong floor to get where we need to go. That I'm not sure. I will admit, I am also still learning the ins and outs of some of these cities. Yeah, it looks like we want to go this way. Tell me if this looks too dark on YouTube. They do have quite a bit of darkness when it is night, and I kind of enjoy that it adds to immersion, but I also know that YouTube has a tendency to darken things. Again, let's attune at any Ethernet shards that we pass that we have not attuned at. And we're going to keep heading out here. Alright, and on the map, it will tell us in what areas we can find the objectives for the quests that we have. As you can see here, we can just kind of hover over it. A few other things that you'll notice on the map, we have these events here that have levels associated with them, so we can do these events when we are at level with them. There's one here that's level 3. We could definitely head over to that if it's still in progress. But here we go. We need to get rats, aurelays, and ladybugs. The only spell we have right now is Ruin. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 180. Alright, let's get casting. Alright, so it's not going to take much to defeat them. And we gained level 2. And we learned Bio. So that's good. Bio deals unexpected damage over time. So this is a dot. We probably want to fire that off either first or second, pretty close. Doesn't deal a ton of damage per tick. Not sure if using bio is really necessary right now, when we're able to take them out in 2 hits anyway. So we'll wait until they have a little more health. Like, there we go. So these first few quests and these first few combats are going to be really easy, obviously. The enemies are not really going to have a lot of abilities. They're going to be low health. You're going to be able to take them out in a couple of hits. Interesting. Maybe we do head down here and check this out. Could be some additional experience for us, which would not be a bad thing. You can see that all of these are non-aggressive. Their names and levels are in yellow, which means they won't attack us just for running by. But if they were in red, that would mean that they were aggressive. So these are fates. Once we enter the area of a fate, we'll be able to work towards its progress. So some creatures are best left alone. Cusack is a giant jellyfish which consumes its prey by stunning it with poison tentacles. Okay, so this is the thing we need to fight, apparently. Let's see how this goes. This is a time we'll use bio. We need to move out of things like that. I could see him defeating us pretty easily, actually. Probably need to be like another level higher in order to fight this guy, honestly. Woot! So when you die, you just respawn at wherever you were bound to last, as far as the major aetherytes. Obviously, we were bound back at Limbs of Lobinza, and the levels of fates actually matter. So if you're not at level with a fate, don't do what I did and try to take it on all by yourself. They're meant to be kind of like group activities. So it looks like it's still going on, but no progress without any other players around. I'm not going to take that on again until we are at least level 3 or 4, if it's still there. We do need to take on these Arlies, Orli, however you would like to pronounce it. And they're level 4, which is a little bit intimidating. You want to move out of anything they lay down like that. Just get out of the template so that you don't take whatever hit is going to happen next. That's pretty basic, but it's worth saying. It's very different than a game like WoW, where most normal monsters are not going to have any kind of templates they lay down. So you have to pay attention a little bit. And I think if we just kill one more thing, we'll get our level here. Didn't know we could hit somebody with a book, but apparently, worst comes to worst, we can hit somebody with a book. So that's good to know. Aside from this fate, we really have nothing else to work on. Out here we could head back to the Arcanist Guild. I'm tempted to try this one more time though. Let's take a look. Still no one over here fighting him. We could probably do it if we were a little bit more careful up front. Doing a little better this time. It's worth interrupting the cast if it means just not getting hit, you know? You don't want to get hit. There we go, we only had 10 HP left, but we got him. Feel pretty good about that. Not really the way you want to do it, but that's perfectly okay. Go ahead and click on return here, teleport us back to the main Aetheryte and Limbs of Laminza. And then we should be able to use this to teleport over to our guild. So here we can use the Ethernet. And let's go over to the Arcanist guild. Quick travel helps a lot in this game. Not that the cities aren't beautiful, but you will get to see enough of the beauty of the city. Even if you're traveling around with the quick travel, I highly recommend using the Ethernet points. Alright, we've passed your first trial. I see the creatures beyond the city walls pose little threats. It is with great pleasure then that I formally recognize your initiation into the guild. From this day, you may proudly bear the title Arcanist. I suggest you continue your forays into the wilderness and keep the pages of your grimoire turning. There is no finer teacher than the harsh mistress of experience. And to commemorate this occasion, I gift you with this hunting log. The enemies marked within its pages have been specifically chosen to challenge your abilities in Arcanima. When you devise a new strategy or tactic, you now have a ready source of opponents on which to test it. And when you feel you can command Carbuncle as easily as you might move your own limbs, return to me for further instructions. I will be waiting. The next Arcanist quest will be available upon reaching level 5. Okay. We are only level 3. On to Summerford, level 4. I guess that's fine. We could do that. Let's go pick that up. Oh, could we have teleported? Yes, we could have. And I'm assuming we need to go where? To the upper decks, right? No? Down below, I guess. It's probably the quest that Baderon has for us now that we've leveled up a bit. Alright. Actually, we need to gain another level yet, so we're going to have to find something to do here. Just so we can gain our level 4, so we do have our hunt log. And it might be a good idea just to go out and work on the hunt log to get level 4. We shouldn't really have to do any side quests, but if we do have to, then we'll sort that out. For now, we're just going to head back out into lower Lenosia, I think. Okay, so for the hunt log, you can see that any beast marked with these, I don't even know what to call them, it's like 3 C's stacked together. Whenever we see creatures marked with that, they're part of our hunt log. You usually need to kill anywhere from 3 to 5 of them to get a bonus experience for completing that part of your hunt log. And if you hit H, you could track your hunt log right here actually. So for these guys, we only need 3 of them. That'll give us a bonus of experience once we complete that. We'll let him bleed off from the bio. There we go. So there's our bonus experience for completing the wharf rat. Now we need ladybugs. And there's our level 4. What else do we need? Nothing right around in this area, I don't think. So that probably means we're good to head back in. And then we'll pick up the next quest that Baderon has for us. And then that should get us to level 5, at which point we'll be able to get our next class quest. We've also now have the ability to summon Carbuncle. He will fight by our side. What he'll do, I'm not sure. Let's take a look. He can do quite a few things. Mainly we just want him to guard, refrain from attacking, or sick him on... Okay, well, that's fine. Let's go ahead and kind of move this out of the way. Somewhere down there seems okay. I'm not assuming we'll have to interact too much with his abilities specifically. At least not for the time being. Here we go. Now we can take our next quest. Level 4. Baderon, proprietor of the Drowning Wench, wants you to lend a hand at Summerford Farms. Still in Eorzea, are you? How'd you fancy a trip outside the city walls? I'd like you to visit an orchard by the name of Summerford Farms. Ever heard of the place? The owner, Stelrian, is an old mate of mine. He's got himself a crew of mostly reformed pirate types, if you can believe that. And he's been trying to bring a bit of life back to the fields after the calamity ruined the soil. He mentioned needing another and or two, and your name came to mind. I gave you a glowing recommendation, so make sure you work hard and impress the old bastard. You need directions? The place ain't hard to find. Just take the Zephyr Gate out of the city, follow the road northeast. And if we don't know how to do that, we can click on the quest, and then it will tell us exactly where it is in relation to where we are. So yeah, we do need to head out of the eastern gate here into middle Lenocia. I'm definitely ready to do that. We've got our summon, we've got a heal now. Very cool, very cool. Haven't needed that yet, but it would have been useful against that giant creature we fought who we were probably outmatched. Now, are we going to need to go up to get out? Or down, rather. Liminza lower decks. Okay. Oh, we can't simply jump down there, unfortunately. That would be way too easy. Were we able to do something like that? And then I think from down here we should be able to get out, right? I have to think this is our way out. Yep, the Zephyr Gates. Alright, well let's see what the greater world has in store for us as we make our way over to our first questing hub that's actually outside of the main city we start in. Along the way, that's level 7, we probably don't really want to mess with that. And then level 8 up there, so we may just be heading directly for our quest. Could fight a few guys, just for giggles. Carbuncle's here with us now. Let's see how he acts. Luckily, he starts attacking as soon as we do. A lot of templates going down. It is 4 a.m. in Eorzea time, so eventually the sun will come back up, but we don't have a lot of control over day or night. It just is going to happen, so it's going to go and go. Unlike in WoW, where the day-night cycle is actually just on a real 24-hour cycle determined by when you're playing, we'll actually get to see all times of day or night in Final Fantasy XIV, regardless of when I'm actually playing local time. These puck hatchlings are part of our hunt log. Again, they have this triple C symbol above them. It looks like we need at least one more. Alright, so our objective is right up the road here. Kind of interested in exploring a little bit more to the north to see if we find anything else for our hunt log, or at least get an idea of where different creatures are at. Doesn't really look like anything else going on over here as far as our hunt log. We don't need the bee clouds apparently. Let's just head up into this little keep here, this walled town. Very cool. I just love the architecture in the game. I love the, I guess it's realism. It's not really realism, but it definitely is incredibly detailed and realistic, the way that they lay out their towns, the way that they build out the interiors of the buildings, and really go into the fine details of what a real building might look like, or what a real town might actually look like. We've got all the workers out here boozing and having a good time. Somebody's sleeping one off. These folks are up on the roof. It just makes the world feel alive, and I can't express how important that is in an MMORPG, in any RPG really. They've got some attack dummies over here in case you wanted to hone your skills. And I guess we're just making our way up right now to the Aetheryte. Once we bind here, we'll be able to teleport from here to Limsa Lominsa whenever we want, which will be incredibly helpful. And then as far as our quest turn in, let's see. Well, here he is. Ah, you must be the adventurer Baderon promised to send along. Realm Rambles, wasn't it? You honored his words, so that's a good start. I'm Stelrin, the old bastard as Baderon likely described me, and this here is my humble orchard. Good number of the lads and lasses working here once terrorized the high seas, and if you're wondering why I employ these scrags, well, they used to crew my pirate ship. But the calamity did for our ship like it did so many others, and I was sore wounded into the bargain. I had to feed myself and my crew somehow, and Admiral Merowib's initiative to get us landlocked buccaneers work in the field seemed too fine an offer to refuse. So pirates turned farmers, not a bad change in lifestyle. Well, it turns out you can take the pirate away from the sea, but you can't take the sea away from the pirate. A lot of my blocks just never took to tending the soil, you see. And unfortunately, the botanists I called in to train them have been wringing their hands in black despair. With so much work piling up, I need a tougher soul like you to step in and help where it's needed. Alright, yeah, oh, that's a lot of experience. What do we want here? I guess we'll take more physical defense, altered thigh boots, or altered leather thigh boots. I really don't know. I also can't check what I currently have. We have access to the next job quest, which we might want to teleport back and grab that now that we are level 5, apparently. I do want to check out what we have going on as far as equipment. To get into your equipment inventory, you have to hit a different button. So I gets you into your regular inventory. Alt-I gets you into your armory chest. Oh, see, this was wrong for us. This was for Disciples of War because I was not paying attention. So we'll pay more attention to that in the future. We have a ring. I'm not sure where we got that from, but that needs to be equipped. And we have boots we can't equip now. Let's just take his next quest. Starion, owner of Summerford Farms, wishes to inspect your equipment and thereby gauge your readiness for the task he has in mind. I have a mind to set you a task, but before I do, I need to be sure you're properly kitted out. Pirates don't care to parley with dandies, you understand, and it might well be that the ones here have traded their cutlasses for coatliers, but they're still rogues at heart. I know a solid set of gear when I see it. Come back when you think you're more suitably equipped. Equip your head, body, hands, and legs, and feet with gear level item 5 or greater. Okay, yeah. Well, that might take a minute. So, you know, with that being said, I wonder what some of these guys want for side quests. We might end up having to do some of them just for that. For now, let's go ahead and we will return to Limsa lower deck, and we will visit our Arcanist trainer to see what they want us to do next, because it might end up being in the same area. And we might be able to get some gear before we can take this next quest. Oh, let's remember to use our teleportation wisely. Alright, to the Arcanist Guild we go. And we'll grab our next Arcanist quest. Ah, realm, isn't it? Are you eating well? An empty stomach distracts the mind and leads to hurried judgment. I must often remind my Arcanists to take meals, so ensconced do they become in their studies. Speaking of such, have you been practicing your tactics with Carbuncle? I believe it is time to assess the improvement of your skills. As with your previous trial, I would have you defeat foes in Lower Lenosia. 3 wild dodos and 3 tiny mandragoras to be precise. Watch carefully the behavior of your opponents. Formulate an effective strategy and utilize your arcane entity to its fullest potential. I expect you back in time for breakfast. Okay, yeah, we can go do that. That's in Lower Lenosia still. So we would need... out of here, we would want to teleport to the aft castle, would be our best method of getting there quickly. So let's do that. And I think that this will actually be a good time, guys, for us to take a little bit of a break. I know it's probably been a really long episode. Going forward, they will probably be around 30 to 40 minutes depending on what's going on, and if we have a dungeon run to do during the episode, it might be a little bit longer. Because as part of the main story quest, we will be doing the main 5-man dungeons that go along with the main story. And so yeah, sorry for the long length on this one. If you like the video, a thumbs up would be great. If you want to see more Final Fantasy videos, we're going to continue this series and try to make it a daily release, so please think about subscribing and getting those alerts. Otherwise, just let me know what you think of the playthrough. If you're playing the game on your own, I'd love to hear what you think about it. And if you're looking to start up, again, we're playing on Lamia, so feel free to join me and shoot me a message. Otherwise, you guys take care of yourselves. It really means a lot to me that you're here. So be well, and we will see you again soon. Bye now.